And here we are in our last hour of our long but fantastic day. And this is the entertainment hour. Yeah. And because we have, at the end of the entertainment hour, we have the Mobo award-winning rapper, Sway. I'm going to look cool for the remainder, and I'm going to wear my Google Glass. And I am joined by the fantastic, awesome Debi Ireland, who is a children's entertainer. Well, she does lots of things, but she'll tell us about her business in a minute. And by the fantastic, the awesome, the co-funder and the co-founder, and the person that has made today such a fantastic success all over the world. It is Mustina Bowden. Yay!
Yay! I'm sorry, I have no glove puppets. I just have gloves.
So we're going to have about half an hour together. We're hoping that Chantal McGregor, who is Britain's top blues guitarist, is going to join us. Ooh, I'm just so excited now. It is because it's getting near 1 o'clock, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
So basically, what I would like to do, Debi, I'd like to ask you first of all. One of the great things about Microbiz Matters Day that's been going on is the fact that everybody, I think 28 people we've had on these hangouts and various things, has said just how important and how different it is, the businesses that we can create that larger businesses just can't do, because we can put all of our personality into it. And there must be nothing more satisfying than your kind of business that you've created. Just tell us about it and tell us what you do, Debi, for a few minutes.
Okay, well, basically Majik Bunnie, hence the ears here, is a children's storytelling service. And I've had 3 children of my own, so I, recognise the importance of passing on really good morals and principles to them. And about 10 years ago, well, it's 11 years ago now. Is it 11 years ago? Yes, I think it is. Yes, it's 11. He thinks it's 11, so he's always right. 11 years ago, I decided to incorporate storytelling with delivering moral messages as well, because I was brought up on, sort of Aesop's fables like the rest of us, and all this kind of thing. But originally, how it started was I got very upset every year listening to children going missing in the summer holidays. It seemed like every Easter and summer holidays, children would go missing with terrible, terrible consequences. So my first stories were all about staying safe over the summer. And a lot of the teachers and the parents were really glad at this. And because I'm dressed as, well, a bit like you could say a superhero, those messages became deeper ingrained than they would normally do if it was, a policeman or coming from a storybook. Because, having a rabbit come and tell you this, a lady dressed as a rabbit, really stuck in the children's minds. So those messages were in their as well. And it just really grew from there. So I do all kinds of messages like keeping safe over the summer, anti-bullying, the value of friendship, community, about how we've all got a special gift, how we're all different but we're all very special and unique, and we've all got a gift to offer, building children's confidence up and their self-esteem up. And it's all done with, wonderful big puppets like this. I've got about 50 puppets now, ranging in size. Yeah, that's basically what I do, and I've been doing it for 11 years, and I absolutely love it.
So the act is continually, well, it's not an act, it's a communication thing, isn't it? Really, with the storytelling, but the whole puppets and various things have been growing during that time. You've got more and more characters to tell the stories.
I'm always thinking up sort of new stories and new characters, but it's also good to have plenty of stock, because generally what I do when I go to the schools if it's a small group of children, if I've got about 30 children or 35 children in the class, I like to be able to give them all a puppet to hold while I'm doing the story. And some people would say that's a distraction, but it's actually not, because they actually feel that when they have a puppet themselves, that they then have something to take care of. And so it makes them almost like, because they've got to make the puppet behave and listen to the story, they behave as well. So it gives them a degree of responsibility, which right at the very start of the story is all about taking responsibility for your actions and how we deal with other people. So by giving a child a puppet, I start the story session off by telling them that they have to make the puppet sit still and sit quietly and listen to the story. So they immediately, all the children sit with the puppets, because they then have a responsibility. And that kind of ingrains them, that sets the level of the storytelling and what the story is about. It's about taking responsibility for ourselves.
I think everybody should have a puppet while they're trying to concentrate.
I think that Debbie doesn't.
So,
I don't think Debbie needs your puppets, Tony. I think they're bad habits, those two.
yeah, absolutely. So, but Tina, we've been talking a lot today with a lot of business owners about, well, the three things that we created Microbiz Matters Day for, which was chat and confidence and inspiration. But 90% of what we've had.
Look what I've got!
Oh yeah! Oh, how fantastic! How awesome!
Meet Waddles!
Well, why is yours bigger than mine?
It's not a hand puppet though. This has just been given to me by my friend's little boy called Woody, and this is Waddles.
Oh, how nice! That's fantastic.
He didn't want me to feel left out. Sorry, carry on.
What I was going to say, Tina, and I know we'll do a wrap-up at the end, but I'll just bring Debbie into this. What we've actually found is that the conversations and the chat we've had is 70% about customers that we've had throughout the day.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, it's not been about how do you get customers from cold. It's about the fact that if you establish to die for reputation and trust with your existing customers, your business will grow because of repeat business, word of mouth, etc., etc., etc. And I found it really inspiring, the number of people that have stuck to the guns through some really hard periods. I'm sure, Debbie, you've had some tough periods in your business as well as Tina and I have had in our individual businesses, but they've stuck with their own personality and their passion and what they believe in. And I think that's the same in the entertainment business, don't you, Debbie? That you've actually got to, your performance and the way you do things gets better and better and better. And if the customers get more and more delighted, your business will eventually succeed.
Well, I think, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years now. And before that, I was actually a sales manager for a publishing company. I worked for a big organization. And my background has always been in sales, and I've worked for little companies and big companies. And I'm not saying that big companies don't have customer care, but generally what I've found is that smaller companies have a much better policy about customer care because they, you know, they rely on them. They don't have thousands and thousands of people to fall back on. They've got to take care of the customers they already have. I mean, I'm in a position of trust. I work with very small children from the age of 3 to 8 years old, so I'm in a position of trust. So most of my work actually comes from reputation. So basically, if I've been into a school, because the schools and the networks that they're involved with, they all tell each other and they all communicate each other. So you only get recommended if you do a good job. I also have a policy whereby in 10 years I have never taken a pre-booking payment. I only take payment if all the children are happy and if the school is happy with what I've done. I've never ever not been paid, but I have refused payment on 2 occasions. There was one occasion when I had a dreadful cold at a little girl's party, and I wasn't at my best, and I knew I wasn't at my best. The children all had a great time, but I knew I wasn't at my best, so I didn't take payment for that party. As a subsequent of that, as a direct result of that, the lady was so kind and she recommended me to her friends, and I got other parties because she knew that I was a person of integrity and that I took seriously about the quality of work that I delivered. So I don't take a pre-booking. I take no deposit and no pre-booking payment. I only take a book payment at the end of the day when I've packed up and I'm ready to go, and I go into the teachers or the headmaster or the parents and I say, were you happy with everything? If they say yes, I'm happy to take a payment. Not until. And I know a lot of businesses can't operate that way, but I'm kind of demonstrating how important it is for smaller companies like myself to really, really take care of their customers and their integrity, because they really are our bread and butter. We don't have hundreds of customers or thousands of customers waiting in the wings like the big organisations do. So, we take that as a real priority, I think.
I love that story. I think it's so true. Tina's bored with it, but one of the things where Claire, my business partner, and I started off in business with, and we took on an older guy who had a recruitment business, if you like. He was absolutely fantastic, and the bit of advice he gave me, which I've never ever not borne in mind, was that, look, I live round here, I know everybody round here, this is me, this is my life, and I never want to have to cross the street to avoid somebody. Yeah?
I think that's true. I think that if you live in a small community where you do business, I think that that's very true. I mean, I use social networking quite a bit, and so I get lots of recommendations from my friends that are on social networking. So it's a case of not letting them down because they recommended me, and I don't let children down, and I don't let schools down, but I don't let myself down either. The other reason why I don't get paid until the end of a gig is because I know that it makes sure that I give my absolute best. If I've already got the money in my handbag, there's a temptation there to kind of how can I say, wing it, so you just kind of just get the job done. But if you don't have payment and your whole performance is hinged on getting that payment, you absolutely give it your best. And I love that. I love having my performance levels to that, so that I don't get paid until I've given my best.
What would you say to somebody who was not in the same business, but let's just say wanted to do something with schools and with children in terms of entertainment type of business? So, not the same as you, but they wanted to do something. What advice would you give them about starting up, really, that kind of business? Anything really, Debbie? I mean, but
I think it's quite difficult, because when I lived up in Scotland, I was very well known and I had a good circle, and I had a lot of repeat business. And then I moved down to England and I lost the momentum of my business, so I had to start all over again, which was kind of weird. But it helped me adopt new business strategies, which I'd not taken on board before. The difference now with starting anything with schools or educational establishments is that budgets have been cut and cut and cut, and so they don't really have the revenue now to employ extracurriculum people like myself. The first thing that gets hit in budgets is out of school trips and entertainers and anything that's extracurricular. So really, you've got to have something that's really, really different, and you've got to have something that will lend itself to the school curriculum. I mean, lucky for me, they have applied, social and moral educational issues into the curriculum, which helps people like me, because that's what I'm delivering. But it is hard getting your foot in the door and staying there. And what I would say is that if you're going to try and get your foot into the schools, make sure that you give them your best. Keep in contact with them. Keep telling them what you've got coming up. Also be prepared to take the extra effort to go and see them and get involved with the children without being paid.
Right.
For instance, I did a storytelling for some children last year, and it was part of Book Week. And they'd all been writing stories about the story that I had done. It was all about anti-bullying. And I asked the school if I could go back and look at those stories that the children had done. And she said, well, we can't really afford to pay for another trip. And I said, no. I don't want paid for it. I just really want to come back and see what the children have done as a result of my visit. So you've got to put in more effort, especially when it's children that are involved. What I don't do on my job is I never wear a watch. I've never worn a watch in 10 years when I've done a performance, because I've gone to some children's parties where the entertainer's always looking at their watch.
Yeah.
It's like, well, is my hour up yet? Is it time to pack up yet? And my philosophy is, if you need to start looking at a watch, then you put it up, because you don't want to be there. Job.
Fantastic. So
We're losing it.
watches are bad habits.
Yes. Don't wear a watch. You've got to love what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. We're going to be joined by Wayne in a second. He's going to wonder what's going on, but I will explain when he comes in. And have we heard from Chantel at all? Oh no, Tina, we haven't heard from Chantel.
Oh no! Oh, we're going to be extending Microbiz Matters Day into other days now, because all these people that we've had technical issues with, we're going to have to.
Oh no!
We're going to have to do recordings with.
Oh, and I bet
She'll be fine. She'll be singing away.
Now that everybody has glove puppets, everybody wants to come on the show. So it's great. Look,
it's bonkers.
Debbie, just one last question. What can you give? Microbiz Matters Day is all about giving 9 minutes to help other microbiz owners, yeah, and help them keep going with the business. What can you give other people that are in the entertainment industry, and it's widest in schools or whatever? What could you give them in 9 minutes that could actually help them with their business?
Oh gosh, I think probably first of all some advice, some enthusiasm, and some self-belief. Quite a few tips as well about how to approach schools, and also how to approach children, because without the children you haven't really got any business at all. And just really any advice that anybody needs or any help, but lots of enthusiasm as well. I think a lot of people know that about me, is that I'm quite an enthusiastic person, and not to give up, and just to really keep going. So the days that it is difficult, I'm there for anybody if they want to phone up and contact.
Fantastic. Fantastic, great. So we now have the Mobo award-winning rapper Sway, who is the reason I'm wearing dark glasses at the moment. Not just to look cool, but I was watching No Sleep last night, and it just did something in my brain at the time. I don't know what it was. But he's looking very confused. So I'm just gonna take the glove puppets off. I think I'm gonna be safer, and we'll introduce Sway. And one of the things that I want to do, and it's different to Sway, is we're going to talk business.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're going to talk business because rather than music for the moment, because what you've actually achieved is actually fantastic. It's been a bit controversial now and again. But what you've actually achieved by actually deciding, well, the independent way is the right kind of way, is like really important. So what would you say are the things to somebody else going into the music business, if you like, that could actually build a business as successful as you have? Because you've got all these fantastic collaborations, own indie label, you got, you know, have you actually changed your deals and various things so that you do everything now?
Well, yeah, basically.
Why don't you explain it to everybody? It's what your business is now.
Yeah.
We can get to the music. You can ask questions about the music if you like. But I really want to know, you know, if you were advising somebody else out there that's you know, getting into the business and wants to actually make a business out of it, which you've made out of it, what's important? What should you do?
Thanks, man. I don't really know where to start, but first of all, you just have to have a goal. You know, you have to have a clear goal of what you want to achieve, and not only what you want to achieve, but why you want to achieve it. And for me personally, like, when you set out with a goal, you just have to ask yourself, how many people can this benefit? You know, if it's just about you, then it's just about you, which usually means that, you know, it begins and ends with you. But when it's about other people and their goals, and if their goals align with you just become more powerful. And you know, I've been independent and been successful independent. I've also had some successes as a signed artist, and I've kind of seen it from every angle. And there are some people who are, you know, who don't really want to get involved in the business side, who would prefer to just be signed and kind of like have the mechanics of a major machine work things out for them, and that's good for them. But where we're trying to...
So you wouldn't say don't do it. If that's good for you, you go with a major label.
Because at the end of the day, you know, for some artists or some songwriters, they don't want to sit in board meetings and learn about percentages and different the different societies, collecting agencies. Some people just don't want to be asked, and if you don't want to be asked to do that, then you're probably not going to do that correctly, and you might land yourself in a worse off position. And sometimes it is just good to do a deal and know that you've got the security of a major machine. But the only problem with that is that where you've got the security of a major machine, you lose a lot of control. So the people who are spending the money, they make the decisions, and sometimes those decisions are not aligned with your personal values or you know, how you would want to be portrayed. And sometimes you might have to bend a bit. And at the end of the day, when you kind of compromise who you are for the sake of a check, you know, when it doesn't go according to plan, you just get pushed out of the way, but you're left with a big massive to your credibility, you know, which you can't kind of get back. So
that's, I mean, one of the things that's interesting there is the fact that a lot of business owners that have had to, because we've broken the day down into things like food and drink hour, we've had Dine and Crazy now, lots of great businesses. And the one thing that comes through in micro business, not huge business, is that a lot of us are doing it and are driven on because of our passion for what we do. We do it really well. And the key is the passion. So if you do, let's say you take a load of money from an investor that takes 40–50% of your business, he's probably taking 50% of your passion and interest in the business. Now, do you know what I mean? Because you're not doing it in the way that you want and with your own integrity. So that's really interesting. What would you say was the kind of, because I mean, I had a look at a number of your videos, a number of your interviews as well, and kind of thing. What would you actually say was the thing that, because you really, what you say, true to yourself and your own values, that obviously the thing about rapping is that comes through in the words and the videos as well, doesn't it? I mean, it's the whole integrity. What was there a wow moment or a moment in your career where you realised, well, hang on, I can't afford to compromise on who I am and the music I do? Did anything happen along the way, or was did it just gradually develop?
There's been a few situations, like for example, I was independent on my first 2 albums, my demo and the signature LP, and then, you know, it came to a point where, you know, I've done so much of the independent thing, and it started getting a bit tedious, and I felt like there was a glass ceiling at some point. And I thought, you know what, let's fish around for record deals, let me see what it's like on the other side. And we signed up to a really great label. Yeah, I mean, they're affiliated, they're an independent, but they're affiliated to a major. So they have the resources of a major, but they still allowed me to operate like an independent. So for the first time, before that, I was under a lot of pressure because I had a lot of notoriety for my music, but it wasn't charting well. So there was a lot of pressure for me to get a chart hit because even though I was independent, I didn't have the resources for much of my I was still on the same platform. Like, you're on the same level with these guys. Why aren't you charting like these guys? And so I would do collaborations with people I thought that could get me into the chart game, and some of them weren't really collaborations. I mean, I could honestly, hands on heart, say, or the type of records that people want to hear from me. And so when those situations didn't go according to our expectations, I kind of like took it back to what I wanted to really do, and I wrote a song called "Still Speeding." Now I wrote this song.
Fantastic.
I wrote the song without no expectation of the art whatsoever. It was just kind of like, I'm in a new situation, let me put it out there. I mean, the third verse, like, I'm known for rapping quite fast, and so I was right on the third verse. I was like, I'm gonna actually rap faster than I've rapped in any other record. No radio station is gonna play this. They're gonna say it's inaudible, or they're gonna say you're not gonna understand the lyrics. And funny enough, that became my highest charting single of my career. And that's when I was at the point where I was like, do what you really want to do inside. When the timing is right and the situation is right, you will connect in the way that you want it to. And that was the first time we didn't try to get a hit, and we did. And after that, the momentum, I got another record which was even higher charted than that. And done for the fun of it. So, now I'm in a phase where I'm working on a new album independently as well. I've got a great setup, a great team, and the album is solely based upon moments that still speak to records that I really want to do and subject matters that I really want to talk about. And I just really hope that.
One of the things that happened earlier was that, have you heard of Charlie Mullins, the Pimlico plumber, the most famous plumber in the world, I think, just about. And he's built a £20 million business. He's looking to take to 100 million. He's absolutely fantastic. We made, I think, one of the really growth things is through people. You need to. What have you learned at this time about? You say you've got a cracking, really good team now. You really have. It's sort of like, building a team that's going to help you go with your need.
I think.
How do you collaborate? Because obviously you promote lots of other great artists and things like that. Yeah.
I think collaboration is important. But vision. So you can't ever forsake that at any point. I mean, there's some people that are great at what they do. They do not share the same vision. They're not aiming for the end result. You just pulling in the direction. It's never going to be a cohesive effort. So it's about, sometimes it's not always about finding the biggest name that you can, a lot of major record labels, they're kind of like, say, box tick, like the biggest songwriter. There we go. Who's the biggest producer? There we go. Who's the biggest video director? There we go. But those people who become the biggest songwriters, the biggest video directors, and the biggest producer, they're usually people that grow in an organic fashion. I mean, so if you're smart enough and you engage with people and you do your research, you can find those people before they get to the figures that you can't afford as an independent really early on. And the team of people that I've been working with, as well as myself, I wouldn't say we've been smart, but we've just been, we've done our research. We don't always just like, there's been loads of opportunities for me to collaborate with names like way bigger than I've ever been in my career. But it's not always about just aligning yourself with the big stars. Sometimes I could meet somebody in a studio session and just like the sound of their voice and feel like, for me, that's going to make a better record, that's going to make a better song. And also the fact that that person is not overexposed means there's no pressure for the song to be anything other than a great body of work. You know what I mean? So just collaborating and not undermining anybody, not trying to, not trying to base things upon status. Sometimes you know what I mean, the diamonds are found obviously in the mine. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
so still,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, sometimes you just have to dig deep.
Yeah, fantastic. Tina, have you been listening to that? Is it your end that's incredibly noisy? Have you started the party without me? Because we're getting near the end of the day. It's nearly wine time. Have you
Right, so I just need to. Look, it's not nearly wine time. It is wine time.
Something was happening, didn't we?
Yeah,
They've got the wine out already. So without.
Sway, just to tell you, it's actually it's my birthday today, and
Happy
I've
birthday.
gone all day without a glass of wine. So, cheers.
Is there anything you want to say to Sway at the moment regarding this? I mean, I'm finding it really. Well, I find it really interesting.
I love his whole. I love your whole ethos, the collaboration, the passion, having a vision. Those are all the things that in the business that I run, that helps to fund Rockers, that I talk about to micro business owners. So I say you need to have a vision, you need to have a strategy, but you need the passion. And actually, what I say to people is, if the passion's in doubt, leave it out.
Yeah.
And that's when it's time to think about whether you're really in the right business or not. And if you're not, get out of it. So, and yeah, I think it probably is at my end that it's noisy. There's now somebody on an ice rink down here talking and shouting and carrying on. So, it looks like it's starting to snow again. So that's fabulous.
So thanks.
How do you move on from now in terms of, where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
Yeah, I would love to be in a position of where I'm helping create talent from the ground up, and I have the resources and the financial stability to be able to invest in people at every single level.
Yeah.
Because even as an independent, there's just being realistic about things. Some people have massive ideas, and some artists are capable of delivering massive ideas, but if the funds are not in place, sometimes there's only so far you can go with favors and friends and stuff like that. So I'd like to be, in a position to, obviously, being independent, I always spend sensibly, but I'd like to know that if we needed to go heavy on something, we could go heavy on it, as opposed to saying maybe next album.
It's a bit like this freedom, this destiny kind of thing. You need. In fact, Charlie Mullins also said that kind of thing about it gives you incredible freedom, just having some resources that you can bring to something, and try something. They've just like raised a £130,000. For a girl
127
in America, seriously ill, and they've raised that in 4 weeks.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And that's what everything we're talking about. You don't do that in a corporate. You can only do it by getting loads of people collecting and doing it. It's fantastic. Great.
I think that the one thing that we've learned today throughout this whole Microbiz Matters Day, so everybody we've brought together, whatever business they're in, whatever sector they're in, I think the one thing that we've learned about is that they've all talked about the passion, but they've all talked about coming together, and they've all got generic things that are going on. So whether you're a rapper, whether you're a children's entertainer like Debbie that dresses up in rabbit ears, or whether you're a plumber like Charlie, or Tom that started the morning with his meditation stuff, it's all the same thing. There's this passion there. They want to give back to community. They want to give resources. They want to help others as well as what you're doing in your business. And wherever you are in that success line, that's really important. And community. You're talking, Sway, about helping the young people and getting them off the ground. Charlie was talking about apprenticeships in the plumbing and the building trade industry. It's all the same thing. And actually, that's what's been so beautiful about today, is we've all networked together. We are a network of networks. And actually, we can work together and learn from each other, whatever we do as a micro business owner, and I think that's so important.
I think one of the things that
and we like wine.
Yeah, one of the things that I was really interested in looking at your kind of stuff was the fact that you kind of, well, you took on a lot of the people in the industry, didn't you? Really?
Yeah.
So because they're kind of like the role model, well, the integrity kind of thing.
Yeah.
You said was really important, and they were. I might get this wrong, but it seemed to me that you were saying that they were overhyping, you know, the hard stuff, and a lot of the stuff that was not good role model kind of stuff. Through, I mean, just tell me a bit, because I think the other thing that we've got from today is that we are on our own in our businesses, and that does mean we've got the power of taking risks that these corporates can't actually take.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because we actually. Well, I mean, apart from Paul, who has been absolutely amazing, hasn't he, Tina? Paul, are you listening?
He has.
Yeah.
Where is he? Where is he? Bring him in. Bring him in.
Paul, and the whole Sage UK team have been fantastic too.
Fabulous. Where's Paul? Can bring Paul in?
But leaving that aside, I mean. What's your take on that?
I just believe there's always like you know, there's always a yin and a yang. You know, like you know, a lot of the type of music I make, and you know, hip hop or urban music, as you like to call it, is birthed from street culture. So obviously, with street culture, you have the stereotypical things that happen in those environments, i.e., crime and stuff like that. But when you've come from that kind of background, I just believe that people need to hear every level of the story. I don't think that you just need to like glamorize the, you know, because some people don't understand that a lot of these artists that come out and talk in a kind of violent way, they're characters. Yeah, they're like Rambo, you know. So they're not actually leaving the studio and back on the street with two guns up in the air. You know what I mean? They literally leave the studio and jump in a Lamborghini and go home. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I felt like at a time the industry wasn't allowing the story of the person who just wants to go to college, you know, and just wants to graduate uni and just wants to live a normal life. From those cancel estate environments, I just felt like that story wasn't being told, and that's what I was standing up against earlier. But I do believe, I mean, I listen to some violent music sometimes, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's just great in the gym, you know what I mean? But in everything in moderation. It's not about portraying that lifestyle as something that's a positive thing. It's a movie, it's a film, it's entertainment in the same way you would watch an action movie.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, do you perform less now? Do you do less? Yeah.
Well, basically, at this moment in time, I've been focusing the last year and a half, 2 years on recording this album. You know what I mean? This album has been really important to get it right. And so with this, it'll be released this year. I'll be doing a lot more performance of new material. At the same time, I've been, you know, working on building a few different record labels and working with different acts. And they're all in a position now. Everything I'm doing is now in a position to go to the next level. So really exciting time for all of us.
So would you say out of all these kind of things that the developing new talent is the most important part for you?
It's equal, because at the end of the day, you need to have the experience. You need to have the clout. You need to be able to walk new talent into certain rooms and introduce them to certain people. So you can't just come out of nowhere and say, you know, I want to be a creative talent without having experience within the field yourself. So it's important for me to release material and have people still recognize that I'm a performing artist, for me to attract acts who say, you know what, I want to be a performing artist like you. And I say, right, well, through my 10 years of being a performing artist, these are the kind of DJs your style of music would fit in with first. And I'm in a position where I can pick up the phone and call that DJ and say, hey, I've got this guy you should check out, you know, etc. So it's important, it's equally important for me to keep myself out there and keep myself relevant as it is for me to discover new talent and help build.
Does that promo stuff you do? There was one of your videos that actually showed you've been doing interviews about 8 hours or something.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, you've been doing the research.
No, but I just thought, oh, hell, this is like, this is really putting it out there all the time. You got to, being asked the same questions
Yeah,
all the
again
time.
and again and again.
Well, hopefully we've asked you some different questions.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. It's been really interesting,
Maybe
man.
a bit of a journey. Well, I'm going to kind of wrap up kind of where we are with all four of us. Numbers never was my strong point, was it, Tina? So all four
No. No.
And so I'd like you to think. I'm going to ask Tina first, and I'll give Sway and Debbie a little bit of chance to just think about the answer to this.
Yeah.
But what could you do to help another micro business owner in 9 minutes? We've discussed it briefly, but I want you to think of something else again that we haven't discussed that you would actually do, that you'd be willing to give on Microbiz Matters Day, but you can do it tomorrow, you can do it the day after, something that you could do for 9 minutes that would actually help somebody else keep going in their own micro business, 0 to 9 employees, little business.
So in 9 minutes, as an indie owner, as an indie only shopper,
yeah.
So I only buy from independent businesses wherever possible. So in 9 minutes, I would see how many independent businesses I could visit and buy something from in a certain place. So there need to be indie-only businesses. I spend, about 90% of my shopping budget with independent businesses. Some of them have been part of today, but that's what I do. I'll do like a supermarket sweep in independent retail shops to see how many things I could buy in 9 minutes.
I like it. Lovely. Thank you very much. Debbie, what would you do? 9 minutes, something new, something you haven't mentioned before.
Okay, I think, well, one of the things I like to do on my social media is I like to pass on what other people are doing. So I think if you know, if I knew some more about sort of local businesses and people in Enterprise Rockers, in 9 minutes I could share as much of what they're doing, their achievements, as possible across social media, because social media is very powerful. It's certainly got me quite a lot of business. And I love to share and say, well, this is what my friend's doing, or this is what this person's doing, or here's what they've achieved, or here's what they've got coming out, here's what they're launching, you know, here's what they've just started.
That's
absolutely great, Debbie. Thank you. What can you do in 9 minutes?
I don't know, to be honest with you. 9 minutes, something that I've never done before.
Yeah. To help somebody else in the music industry.
I might go on like a SoundCloud and just pick random, absolutely random content. Hip hop music, it could be folk music, jazz music, and try and discover new material from a different genre of music to what I know.
Love it, great. And I'm going to download 3 of his tracks.
Which
makes him some money and makes me happy as well. Thank you, everybody. It's been a fantastic Microbiz Matters Day. Do you want to do anything else, Tina, or should we just close it?
No, I just want to say thank you. I don't know where Paul is. Is Paul there?
Yeah, Paul's here.
Is Paul in the back?
Yeah.
Right, Paul, get yourself around the front of the camera.
Come in the middle. Come in. Yeah.
Hello. I just want to say this man has been amazing. Without him, without the support of Sage and Google for work with the venue, and Sage with the people help, we wouldn't have done what we've done and achieved through the coordination. We have had 1 or 2 technical hiccups today with getting people on board, but we did try to get 30 micro business owners involved in our first ever Micro Business Matters Day live.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Tony for being in the studio all day, which has allowed me to still be up a mountain all day. And yeah, just thank you to everybody that's taken part, and to those 5 million micro business owners in the UK, keep rocking. To the billions of others across the world, keep rocking. You're all amazing, and we all know that microbiz matters. We all know that micro-businesses make a huge difference to local, regional, and national economies. So let's keep on keeping on. We're always here for each other, and let's keep going. Keep rocking. You're all awesome.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.
See you.
Bye.